The first session, we are discussing the role of an MP, which gets even more importance this year because you have elections coming up. And I think people, especially most citizens, are actually confused. They don't know what an MP is supposed to do compared to what an MLA and what a panchayat representative or a municipal councillor is supposed to do. So we should all expect MPs to do what the MP's role is and not do other people's role, and panchayat guys to do their role so that MPs can do their national roles better. So that's the main question we are dealing here. I had a few thoughts before we discuss, which is that MPs have they wear multiple hats. Of course, while they are doing all of that, they are supposed to look at national interests. They are expected to look at what are national issues. They are the only institution which holds the government accountable for its actions, except for illegal actions which the courts do. But for the policy actions of the government, is the government doing its job properly? Is the role of parliament to do. They pass laws, and it's a very difficult job because they're also trying to negotiate conflicting interests. I'll just give one example. If you think of, let's say, the Land Acquisition Act, we are taking away land from people who own them. At the same time, we need the land for various public purpose issues. So how do we manage these two interests for different purposes? I mean, it's the job of the politician to be able to figure that out. So they do a very important role for society. And of course, right from 13th century England, the king's ability to tax and to spend the money was restricted by parliament, and we follow that. So you cannot be taxed unless parliament sanctions the tax. So that's how parliament protects us citizens. And the government cannot spend unless parliament authorizes a particular piece of spending, so the government's spending is negotiated. So they are doing all of this. Now, when they are doing this, several questions come up. How do they think about these roles? Do they think about it from their conscience, their point of view? Are they directed by parties how to do? Are they directed by what the constituency wants? Sometimes these might all be aligned, and there might be occasions when they are slightly different. So how do we negotiate that? We wanted to discuss that. And also, the constituency brings in lots of pressure on issues which are, very technically speaking, not their jobs. Like, there are no roads, there are no street lights, garbage is not getting collected, all of which are local government roles. But people want them to solve that. And which brings us to the question of what are MPs in politics for? Are they here to think about national interests with their ideologies also in place? Or are they here to do, and these may not be conflicting things, are they here to serve the local public? And while doing that, to be an MP finally, you need to get elected. So how do they manage the constituency pressures while doing their other things? Wanted to discuss some of these. We have 4 MPs here who have all served parliament with great distinction. I'll start from my left. We have Ms. Jothimani, who is the MP from Karur. She has come up the hard route from local politics, was, if I remember correctly, General Secretary of the Youth Congress, comes from a fairly rural constituency. Her constituency is spread over, as she told me just now, 4 different districts, so she has to handle for the local work 4 district administrations. She has also been working a lot for local youth empowerment. We run this, and I can see a few LAM fellows here. We run the LAM fellowship, and she has tried doing something at the local level to get people into, to open spaces for young people. Next to her, is Mr. Rajendra Agrawal. If you watch Parliament TV, you'll probably see him on the speaker's chair very often, because when we switch on, he's there, including including the unfortunate incident of yesterday. He was in the chair and he very calmly, coolly adjourned the house. That was quite amazing to see. He's from Meerut. He has certain pressures which I would say Ms. Jothimani doesn't have, which I guess he has, which various MPs have said, which is that when somebody, I remember talking to an MP earlier who was from a nearby constituency, who said that ये तमिलनाडु वाले lucky हैं, दिल्ली आते हैं तो they can do parliament's work. Whereas his constituency was nearby, he said दिल्ली आते हैं तो भी इधर पहुंच जाते हैं constituency वाले लोग. So how do you manage that double pressure of constituency while doing all this work? He has chaired various committees, including some contentious bills, including the Citizens Amendment Bill, the Forest Conservation Bill. So so one of the things that I thought, sir, you could talk about also is, how do you manage to build consensus across parties for some of these issues? How do committees work? Because a lot of work in Parliament actually comes off camera in committees. So how do you manage that? Next to Mr. Agrawal is Dr. Sanjay Jaiswal. He is the MP from Paschim Champaran in Bihar. He was the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Water. He is now the chairperson of a very important committee, the Estimates Committee. He also held important posts in the party, including being the chief of the Bihar unit of the BJP. Again, a rural constituency, so a lot of different types of issues that come up. Third term, a reasonably far-flung, if I remember correctly, it's a border constituency also, is it? It's a border constituency. So very...
Pandu is 145 kilometers from my place and Patna is 200.
So closer to Kathmandu than Patna. So various other issues come up there. Last on my left is Mr. Lavu Krishna, one of the younger MPs in Parliament, first term. Again, certain different types of issues that he has to handle, including the fact that he's from a regional party. His party, my guess is, would expect him to raise more of state interests than, let's say, a BJP or a Congress, where you're focused more on broader issues. So that's the party expectation. He is a member of the Education Women's Sports Committee, which also has been looking for a long time on the child marriage bill. So some of the issues, like, I mean, one of my questions is, why is that report so difficult to finalize? What are the sort of pressures that come up, and how do you manage those? So these are some of the things I thought I would raise before handing over the so if you could just speak for a few minutes, and then we'll have a second round of anything else. Anyone, whoever wants to start.
That's only fair.
हमारे सभी सम्माननीय सांसदगण, आदरणीय माधवन जी और सभी मेरे डियर फ्रेंड्स, जैसा अभी माधवन जी भी कह रहे थे, सांसद के नाते सांसद अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी का प्रतिनिधि है, 1, अपनी पार्टी का प्रतिनिधि है, 2, और सर्वोच्च जो डेमोक्रेसी का एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है संसद, जो इन टोटो रिप्रेजेंट्स द कंट्री, द नेशन, तो इस नाते वो देश का भी प्रतिनिधि है। और मैं समझता हूँ कि उसकी जो भूमिका है इन तीनों चीज़ों से डिफाइंड भी होती है, डिसाइड भी होती है। जनता चुनेगी तभी आप संसद में पहुँचेंगे। तो आपकी पहली जिम्मेदारी ये है कि आप जनता के बीच में रह करके उससे अपना लाइव कांटेक्ट बनाए रखें, और इट इज़ द मोस्ट चैलेंजिंग वर्क। ख़ास तौर से लोकसभा के, हम सभी लोकसभा के सांसद बैठे हुए हैं, तो एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत ज़्यादा होती हैं। अभी जैसे कह रहे थे कि भी माधवन साहब कह रहे थे कि पंचायत का कोई प्रमुख वो है, प्रधान है, या कोई ब्लॉक का है, या जिले का है, या विधायक है, तो सबके काम अलग अलग हैं ऑफ कोर्स। परंतु मेरा जो अनुभव पिछले लगभग 14.5 साल का है वो ये है कि व्यक्ति आता है कोई भी समस्या लेकर के, किसी भी तरह की समस्या लेकर के, और उसकी मन में अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये होती है कि ये सबसे बड़ा जो प्रतिनिधि है वो ये है। वो ये नहीं देखते कि इनका काम का डिवीजन क्या है, वो जस्ट डोंट गो इनटू द डिटेल्स ऑफ दैट। दे कम एंड टेल देयर प्रॉब्लम एंड वांट टू बी सॉल्व दैट, सिंपल। अब उसके अंदर मैनेज करना, उसको खुद करना या किसी को कहना, मतलब मेरा जो कहना चाह रहा हूँ, उनकी जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है बहुत ज़्यादा है। दूसरी जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है जो बड़ी कठिन होती है, उनके जो व्यक्तिगत या पारिवारिक कार्यक्रम होते हैं, कोई शादी है, कोई नामकरण है, कोई अन्य चीज़ है, यू कांट इमेजिन कि उसका साइज कितना बड़ा है। यानी लोग जो है एवरी ईयर दे मेक ए फंक्शन। तो जैसे कहते हैं ना कि वन टाइम इन्वेस्टमेंट तो चलो हो गया, लेकिन वो अपने जन्मदिन पर या अपने बच्चे के जन्मदिन पर बुलाएं तो रैकरिंग जो ये सारा है, इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मैनेज। लेकिन ये एक चैलेंज रहता है ये तो। लेकिन इसके बाद भी लाइव कांटेक्ट आपका है, आप रिस्पॉन्ड भी करते हैं, और मैं समझता हूँ इसमें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि यू डोंट लूज योर टेम्पर एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, क्योंकि उनकी बातें अजीब हो सकती हैं, उनकी बातें इलॉजिकल भी हो सकती हैं, कई बार वो विषय को समझते नहीं हैं, होता है ये। लेकिन आपको यू नेवर नीड टू लूज योर टेम्पर, प्यार से उनसे बात करते रहिए, तो ये समस्या हल हो जाती है। जो संसद की बात है, देखिए, और मैं PRS का खासतौर से बहुत, मैं हमेशा जब भी बीच में आता हूं तो इस बात को मैं कहता भी हूं, सभी लोग इस बात को अनुभव करते हैं कि संसद के अंदर जो परफॉर्मेंस है, उसके जो इनपुट्स प्राप्त होते हैं आपके द्वारा, वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होते हैं। इतना जरूर मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि बहुत बार सामान्य जन को भी खास तौर से जानकारी नहीं होती है कि केवल संसद की जो कार्यवाही है वो सांसद की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है। अभी जैसे बात भी आई है, जो कमेटीज़ होती हैं, कमेटीज़ का बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण रोल होता है, और कमेटीज़ में आप यदि पढ़ करके नहीं जाएंगे, अध्ययन करके नहीं जाएंगे, तो यू कांट कंट्रीब्यूट। अब मैं जानता हूँ लवू जी हैं या संजय जी हैं, मतलब लवू जी तो अब मैं शेयर भी करते हैं कमेटी को, या ज्योतिमणि हैं, सब लोग, मतलब बिना अध्ययन के ना संसद में आप कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं और ना ही कमेटीज में कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं। और इस दृष्टि से कमेटी की जो वर्किंग है ज़रा क्लोज होती है, तो उसमें बहुत अध्ययन भी करना पड़ता है। तो और अभी जैसे बात कर रहे थे, मैं समझता हूँ कि मैनेज करने की जो सारे जो डाइवर्स उसके अंदर विचार होते हैं या रिप्रेजेंटेशन होता है, आप अच्छे से उनको व्यवहार के स्तर पर कोई गलती मत होने दीजिए। बाकी यू आर फॉर योर पार्टी इन दैट सेंस, यू रिप्रेजेंट द आइडियोलॉजी ऑफ योर पार्टी, ओके, परंतु व्यवहार के स्तर पर किसी प्रकार की भी तीखापन, कड़वाहट यदि नहीं होती है तो सब लोग मैनेज हो जाते हैं। सबको पता है कि भाई ये आखिर पार्टी का व्यू उसी को कहेंगे। तो और जो तीसरी बात है, देखिए, इसी के अंदर जो पार्टी का व्यू है उसको तो आप हैं, देखिए, यहाँ हमारे देश के अंदर एक प्रकार से पार्टी डेमोक्रेसी भी है, दलीय लोकतंत्र है। तो उसमें आपको अब बहुत बार कहते हैं कि फ्री रहे, विप न हो, वगैरह वगैरह, लेकिन मैं समझता हूँ कि ये कोई भी पार्टी इलेक्शन में एक एजेंडे के साथ जाती है तो आपको उसके साथ रहना होता है और आप उस बात को कहते हैं। बाकी आप कहाँ पर क्या कहते हैं वो अलग चीज़ है। और राष्ट्रीय मुद्दों के संबंध में भी उसकी समझ हो, अध्ययन हो, वही विषय रहता है, क्योंकि आप केवल अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी रिप्रेजेंट नहीं करते, यू रिप्रेजेंट द कंट्री आल्सो। और इसलिए सांसद कहीं का भी कोई सा भी विषय उठा सकते हैं, उठाते हैं। तो ये सब जो है मैं समझता हूँ कि, क्योंकि और भी संक्षेप में मैंने बात करने की कोशिश की है, कोई क्वेश्चंस आएंगे तो आई विल ट्राई टू रिप्लाई दोज आल्सो। थैंक यू।
My dear colleagues, Mr. Madhavan and dear friends, good morning to all. See, I'm a first-time MP, but I had, like Madhavan mentioned earlier, I had worked in Panchayat for 10 years. So I have a little bit understanding of the administration system, so that makes little bit things easy. But one thing is, being a woman MP and a male MP is a two different story. Every time when you fight for an issue, there is always a glass ceiling. We always try to break it. So many people have broken it. That is why we are all sitting here. But still it will exist. We always have the conscience that there is a glass ceiling exist. Then every time you will see the prism of women. Sometimes when you go to field, people are actually much better. I feel once they voted for you, they have the understanding that they have voted for a female MP. So the pressure from the people in the gender point of view is much less than the bureaucracy or a political party. So within the political system, within the administrative system, you have to face a very stiff glass ceiling every time. So that you need to put a lot of energy to bring in. So like Madhavan said, I have 4 different district administration. So every time you have to tell one after other district administration that I am not that so-called woman MP which you think. So sometimes you cannot be so nice to them all the times. Once I'm also not I strongly feel being a woman, it's very difficult to nice everyone when they try to see you as based on your gender. So that way you spend a lot of energy, both physical and mental, to break the glass ceiling every other day. Second thing, what I realized, Tamil Nadu is, like maybe Andhra Pradesh also, I said a lot of money is there into politics. I'm someone actually don't believe in it. As a personality, I read Gandhi, Periyar, that's how I influenced into politics and came in. I generally don't believe in money makes things much better except election time. Election time also, I have a different theory. So then, as Agrawalji rightly said, you end up in going 60, 70 marriages a day. Sometimes actually you go to marriage, you will be like list of marriages waiting for you. Sometimes in between somebody who is very important or somebody who knows you, somebody from party or very important in the village will die. So you go there, you stop this marriage, you go there, you attend that funeral and come back and take bath again, you have to start this journey. This is bizarre sometimes. Somebody is very young, died, or somebody is very emotionally connected to you. So you will be like, I'm not that kind of person. I also was a writer. So it's very difficult to shift that role from here to here. Maybe many people don't understand it. That I struggle that how you go from a very difficult condolence to a marriage celebration. That's a switchover you have to do. As an MP, you don't have a choice. Or as a political representative, you don't have a choice. Third thing, in terms of party, I believe only thing, I strongly believe we all base the gender bias, many political parties irrespective of the name. But the holding the party view is not having generally Congress people don't have that pressure on holding the party view, because party has a very strong view. We have discussing inside those views, but still party respect the individual opinion a lot. There are many occasions in Tamil Nadu I have openly defied the party line and went publicly said something which we firmly believe. I firmly believe, my state firmly believe. Because I personally believe when you are in a national party, India is not a one nation. I don't believe in it. It's a small states. It may be a states, but it has a different lifestyle, different emotions, different attitude, different views, different value system. So unless until if I am from Tamil Nadu, our value system, our way of politics, our way of life, what we believe is completely different. So many years actually we are deep-rooted in that values. It's very difficult to compromise or accept your party views when you are not 100% correct. Sometimes actually every issue cannot be spoken outside. Sometimes we'll tell the party inside that this is our state view, this is our view, which we may not agree. We say that sometimes you have to keep quiet at least. Sometimes you have to express it. So that is always a conflicting role. Then when you go to marriages or somewhere, I don't think it's a people expectation. There is a practice. You have to give certain amount of money, 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees. It's always there. But I used to go with empty hands. My colleagues will come. And how can you come with empty hands? Even as a councillor, local body, I never went like this. I don't have money to do that. So I simply say, I will come, you come with me, come. Otherwise, I will go alone. I will tell my local MLAs. But overall, I find people have no problem with it. People will respect it. Then when temples is another issue. When people build temples, they will come to you for money. There is a sports festivals. Young youth come to you for money. And I will explain to them, I am someone who strictly live in my salary. That is really not sufficient. Salary might be sufficient. Allowance is not definitely sufficient. I will come to that when Madhavan opened that how effectively MP can function. We are all lack of teams. We could have more team. We could do more work. Then people come for money. My district, at least 2, 3. I have 3. In my district, I have 3 constituencies. 2 constituency clearly, no, I will not give any money. So new constituency, which I become an MP, they used to come, I'll explain to them. So many people laugh, you don't explain to them, people don't understand. Then I can't give money, I can't be rude to them, so I'll simply explain to them, I can't give money. Sometimes they'll reluctant, then I'll explain second time. Then slowly people started adapting to that okay, that's not a problem. Some people say, some people like you, so that rain comes. So I believe that, okay, people respect it. Then MP lad comes, there is an issue. Then people come with drama halls, other things. Then I want to spend, because I travel a lot of schools generally. I found that Tamil Nadu has a very good educational infrastructure, health infrastructure, but still I personally feel it's not sufficient. So I want to spend MP lad more on education and health, drinking water. So people come with other issues. Then I started explaining to them. Then they will upset first, especially your alliance, your own party, they will get upset. Then I'll tell them, okay, this many school I have went. So this much people have I met. People are sitting under the tree. What do you want me to do? Either a drama hall or a school. You decide, I will tell them. So finally people come on board. When you will give this, they will say, maybe next term I will tell them like that. So now I end up in spending 60% of the MP led to education, almost 25% to health, and the rest I spent in differently abled and drinking water. This is the 4 major area I mostly spend my money. I want, like Agrawalji said, what I personally believe, as long as you have more connect with people, taking them on board every issue, maybe silly issues, but still you taking them on board, convincing them, even they're not convinced, they will have the satisfaction that at least she has the conversation with me. She just explained to me. They might go back and think and come back to you. They might not go back and think, come back to you. Still something is in their head. So that makes a lot of things easy, I believe. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Madhavanji and my esteemed colleagues and interns from PRS. I'm a first-time MP, as I was being introduced. Unlike the other guests on the dais, who has risen through the ranks of the party, we have been parachuted. I have been parachuted into the role. But unlike my colleagues in my party, at least I was given a role and work for almost 5 years before the election. So from 2014 to 2019, I was actually doing the work of the party. So at least I could understand how the party works. But unlike them, I couldn't understand, I didn't know how the bureaucracy works. So that's the lacuna with which I came into it. And once I came into it, what I realized was, there are 3 things that we are here to do. There's nothing like a job description. That's the first thing I've realized. There's no, it's like this is what there's no job description. So what I need to do when I'm in the constituency, what I'm expected to do when I'm in the constituency is, first thing, we run the business of keeping the people happy. Second thing, you do that, as Jothimani or Agrawalji has mentioned, 90% of the time, you keep them happy if you can give them enough time and listen to them. You don't have to do, you can't do. As an MP, we are not in executive position, unlike others. So you cannot execute a lot of things, but if you can listen to them, almost 90% of the work is done. And third thing, and most important thing was, don't make your party leadership unhappy too many times. You can make them unhappy few times, but not too many times. So these are the 3 things with which I work on when I'm in the constituency. This is what I keep in mind. But when I'm here, unlike them, I have advantage. Because they have a very set party line, because they are national parties. For us, what we have is, we have to speak on the state issues, but which my party pushes. But when we take other issues, which doesn't concern my state or party or anything, they don't bother. They're like, okay, you take your line, you can speak. But they cannot do the same thing because they have very specific party line. So there I have the advantage if I put in that effort, extra effort. So that's my 4.5 years of being an MP. That's my experience. This is the learnings that I have, and still a lot more to learn. And people like Agrawalji, either when he's in the speaker chair or when he's in the committee, Whenever he has to say something, the way he says it, I always observe. He says it so subtly and very sharply, so that the point is gone, but he's not hurt. So that's as a youngster, you and me, all of us should learn, because we are very blunt. We think like other person will understand, but you have to say it in a way that other person doesn't hurt. So that's what are the learnings for the last 4.5 years. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone and my friends. So you must be realizing there's a lot of difference between perception and reality. The perception is always there with this, more with the social media. The MPs don't do anything. They just do false promises, win elections, then they enjoy 5 years in Delhi, and then they come back to make another false promises. That's the perception is. But the reality is that it's the most difficult thing a person can do. I always tell youths that if you want a good life, never join politics. But if you want to die satisfactorily, there's no way better than being in politics. I was professionally a qualified doctor. So my routine was that in morning I will go play badminton, then earn a lot of money whole day. In evening, I will sit with my friends, play bridge for another 1.5 or 2 hours. And then I will go to some party or meeting. That was a normal routine life. Now, after becoming member of parliament, the life becomes so difficult, but it's our choice. We all have chosen to be ourselves, that we will be member of parliament. And I don't remember any outing, anywhere. Even if we are going abroad for a conference or for some personal work, it's 2-3 days doing our work and rushing back. Though before that, as a doctor, like every 3rd month, I will be going abroad, enjoy there for 15 days. It was all sponsored. So after becoming an MP, the first thing I did in my health committee, I said no sponsorship to the doctors by medical companies. So the point is that if you belong to other state of life, you realize what are the problems, what are the things which are going wrong in the society. Like we all belong to 4 different backgrounds. So that helps a lot. And nothing gives you more satisfaction when you just think that the kind of policy making you have done, you have intervened in this, and the things have, maybe your name is not there, it doesn't matter. But it gives you a lot of satisfaction that I am the cause of this law which has taken place, or it was my advice to the minister and this thing has happened. Nothing can beat that satisfaction which you have in your mind and soul. So that's the most important point is. Second, again, there's a perception. Everyone says, you are the lawmakers. We are listening, everyone not here. And whenever we go to any meeting, any party, oh sir, please welcome, you are the lawmaker of India. Actually, we don't make laws. All of 4 of us. It's the ministers who make of law with executive and with law department. But what we do is tweaking that law with public-friendly decisions. Or whenever you see any law coming to the parliament, you will see a lot of amendments which when it is passed, it happens. That's only because of our interventions, our ideas. We put, whether it's in the debate or if the law goes to the standing committee, everyone contributes a lot. And there's no party at all. If you see the working of the standing committee, even any law, if it is scrutinized by me, I will speak up to any length against it. I will cross-examine the law department. I will cross-examine the bureaucrats who are there, who have made the law. We take public opinion also, so that we can have a detailed idea that what to do and how to do. And that's the reason. Just yesterday you have seen, last parliament session, the criminal law was introduced by our Home Minister. That whole bill was taken back, and he has introduced a fresh bill. So that has happened because of the Member of Parliament's intervention. Otherwise, why a government who has introduced bill himself has taken back? Because the MPs find what are the flaws in it, what are the pros and cons, and how it will give a long-lasting effect to the citizens of India. So that's the real work we do as a member of parliament. And third and not last, in our constituencies, you have already heard it. So 50 years back, any grand marriage was determined by how many elephants and camels are there. We are the modern days elephant and camels. So it's determined by how many members of parliaments and MLAs are there in the marriage ceremony. And if you don't go there, it's very hard to get elected. If you are in Delhi, you are forgiven. I will say, sorry, I always wanted to come there, but you know the parliament session is going on or some meeting. Not with you. But if you are in constituency, you don't have, and we can't change everything even in the constituency. Like we know that this person is very poor, but again, for everything, there is the SECC data, they say that shows this person is having a house, good house, and we all know that this doesn't have a house. Because at that time of the survey, the report was like somebody has bribed them, a person. I remember one thing, one person came to me, that I have been removed from a PDS list, I'm not going to leave my Pradhan. I said, why you want to do that? No, he has removed me. I said, okay, you have done a very good thing, that you want your name to be included, but at least you have buttoned your shirt. You have such a thick gold chain is showing to me, and you want that, you should be there for the PDS, free PDS list. I said, what happened? The Pradhan has given to that person who is having 3 tractors, then why I can't have it? So these are the things, and then you feel very sorry because giving these people, somebody else has been sacrificed by these people who do the survey. We try to intervene as much as possible, but many a times, we can't do it because of the government has got a definite system. So there we really feel bad. But another is the MP lad. If you see the MP lad has given 5 crores and they will say, you get 5 crores of it. But if you divide in our constituencies, 6 constituencies, 80 lakh. If you divide in the panchayats, then it will come 1 lakh or 1,10,000 per panchayat. Now what you can do development in 1 lakh rupees. Nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about you are given 5 crores, why don't you do this work, which every MP faces. And still with all those things, one thing is always matter, that if you are sincere doing your work, at the end, how much they complain, at the end, they help you, they take care of you, and they remember the good work once you are not there. Till you are a member of parliament, nobody talks about the good work you have done. They always talk about that these things haven't been done in the constituency. But once you are not there, even people remember that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So several things that you said, all of you said, have stoked some thoughts. So one of them I can see, I mean, and not just what Dr. Jaiswal just now said, as in this is possibly the most satisfying job, though it is the toughest job on earth, and very, I mean, there are no, and I haven't seen any other profession working literally 24/7, and I take a holiday on Republic Day, but you have to go and to some, I guess, 50 flag hoisting ceremonies and work all day and give speeches. So you don't get a day off. But it's still, all of you say that it's satisfying, and it's visible from the fact that you do fight re-elections and want to come back, and you don't exit the profession. So it would be interesting for us to actually hear about any specific interventions, parliament, constituency, whatever, which has given huge amount of impact, satisfaction that you have done. So I'll just ask any of you or all of you to just highlight something so that people get a sense of the range of things that happens. That's the idea.
I went to Prime Minister 8 years back. I told him that, see, we are already having a scheme called RSBY, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. and the cost per capita, per person is just 300 rupees. And we are having CGHS scheme on health also. And the cost per person in CGHS is 1200 rupees. So if we can put all poor people together, and the cost will be hardly 600 to 700 rupees, and we can give insurance to all the poor people of India. He told me that go give the presentation to my PMO office. I gave the presentation. Then I was called again. I was called in Niti Aayog. I gave a presentation there also. And after 6 months, I saw the announcement that every poor people will be connected by Ayushman Bharat. That day was one of my best days.
Gives you a lot of happiness when you come out, when you go to school, till you come out, you don't feel you are an MP or an anything. They just makes you happy, keeps you happy. So when after some point of time, I realized that spending some time with them, really they value it, especially girl children when see someone like you, really risen from the rank and talking, there is a perception like, especially social media perception like Agrawal ji said, Jaiswal ji said, that there is a politicians are completely, there is a set up things which people imagine about politicians. When you go there and sit with them, interacted with them, then people also get to a lot of interest in politics. They will ask you how you come, then we will ask whom you like, what are all things. Then I started realizing that especially the rural schools, I largely represent a rural constituency. There are a lot of talents, potential is there, but still when you started talking to students, very few people will stand up and talk, will sit and talk, raise questions. The rest of them are relatively very silent. Then I realized we need to make them speak. Then I generally don't speak much when we go to school. I believe in a conversation. So then I started talking to them in a particular format, how to address the fear. So that actually clicks a lot. Then many schools wanted me to come. It's a difficult work going to school, spending 2 hours, 3 hours, where your party worker, alliance party worker standing outside. They will tell you what nonsense is this, you are going to school sitting with these kids, they don't even have a vote. But I might have went 100 schools by now, we would have reached 30,000-40,000 students. Then later I realized it has a great impact than what the other work, maybe infrastructure or otherwise we are doing. That gives me more satisfaction. Now even this is an election year, still I feel that I should go to rest of the school and finish. Now my schedule is mostly on schools. Second thing, in terms of infrastructure, we have done one good work, I must say, thanks to Gadkari ji. There are a lot of block spots in the national highways in my parliament. Somehow it didn't address for last 20 years. When we taken a data, almost 5,000 people have been died in those block spots. Almost 30 block spots we have identified. Out of which we are able to clear some 16 already done. Rest of the work is going on. These 2 things I found satisfactory in my term.
Myself coming from a regional party, you might say this is where the lines get really blurred between the bureaucracy and being on the legislative side. So as others who are on the dais, they have the access to the government, unlike me, because we're in the middle center. So either most of the time we don't have, and Jothimani has different kind of access because she's in the opposition, she can barge in, but we cannot do that. We have to thread a very fine line. So even with that, what we could do is, that's why I'm saying I'm blurring the lines with respect to my constituency, which is very backward in the sense there's like, you can't get water if you dig even after 1,000 feet also. That's how backward it is. So there's one irrigation scheme that's been pending for the last 60 years or so, because they couldn't get the permissions from the union government with respect to the forestry and wildlife reserve, tiger reserve, because it's a tiger reserve. So normally this should be done by the bureaucracy. Normally they should be following it up, they should be coming here, but it's not being done for the last 60 to 70 years. So I have to get the file, I have to move it in the state. They don't, this is a small project, so state government doesn't have huge stakes in that. They're like, okay, we'll do it, we'll take our sweet time, but we have to follow it from every table and bring it here, and we have to make a lot of representations here and everything. Finally, it got cleared 6 months back. So whoever is there, either me or anyone or whichever government is there, they can go ahead and already the groundbreaking ceremony is over, so they can go ahead and do it. And people in that area are, if not in a year's time, if not in 3 years' time, at least in the foreseeable future, they see that this project is going to be completed. So that was one of the things. And the other one was, again, normal things like roads, national highways, all of them. Again, I'm saying this blurring the lines. Normally, this should be done by the bureaucrats. It should be done by the state administration, but they take state as a unit. So we have to take our parliament as a unit, and we have to work towards that. So once we do that, when I get the maximum number of kilometers in my constituency, yes, as a national highway within 4 years sanctioned, that's what I proudly, happily tell my constituents. So these are the things. If I get a medical college which is sponsored, which is funded by the union government, yes, which I got, which I'm really happy about. So, but again, I'm saying these are not the jobs that that we are assigned to do normally. As I was earlier mentioning, there's no defined job description that this is only you do and this is what others do. So you have to intervene, you have to put that extra effort, so that the reason being, all of us, after 5 years, when we're going for the election again, we need to create our own story. Party will have a story. We need to have our own story. This is what I have done. You have given me 5 years, this is what for me to show you. Unless you have your own story, again, if you go and show your face, they're like, okay, after 5 years, you're coming here. So, yeah, so these are the 3-4 initiatives which I've taken. Yeah, I'm really, really happy about it. Thank you.
देखिए संजय जायसवाल जी ने का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो रियली दैट इज वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट इन एवरी सेंस. और मैंने कहा भी कि उन्होंने कभी बताया भी नहीं. हम लोग आसपास ही बैठते हैं, दूर भी नहीं बैठते हैं. तो एनीवे, मुझे लगता है उनकी ये विनम्रता है, और इसको जो इसका मैं बहुत ही अभिनंदन करता हूँ. वन थिंग, एंड मेरे पास ऐसा कोई विशेष प्रसंग नहीं जिसने बड़ा भारी कोई राष्ट्रीय स्तर के ऊपर कुछ किया हो. लेकिन हाँ, मैं फर्स्ट टर्म में आई वाज ऑन IT कमेटी. देयर आर रेगुलरली आर्ग्यूड फॉर द सोलर पैनल्स ऑन दीज मोबाइल टावर्स. वो डीजल से चलते थे, और सबसे बड़ा बिल डीजल का, इंपोर्ट का, उसका होता था. तो मैं उसको बराबर कहता था कि इससे बिल भी खर्च कम होगा, बिल भी का भी बोझा नहीं होगा, और उसमें अनइंटरप्टेड जो सप्लाई है पावर की वो भी मिलती रहेगी. उसको बहुत ज़्यादा पावर की ज़रूरत भी नहीं. इसको मैं रेगुलरली मैं इसको पुश करता था. पॉसिबली वहाँ से भी कोई चीज़ और भी लोगों ने कही होगी, परंतु वो चीज़ थोड़ी सी इम्प्रूव हुई. अब मैं सोचता हूँ शायद उसमें ऐसे कुछ कमेटीज में कोई बात कही हो तो उसका वो. लेकिन एक चीज़ जो मुझे बड़ा सेटिस्फैक्शन देती है वो मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी से जुड़ी हुई है, जैसा अभी बताया. वो कैन यू इमेजिन कि जस्ट 70 किलोमीटर्स फ्रॉम द नेशनल कैपिटल, in the Meerut Nagar Nigam, which is corporation, there was a basti of 3,000 people not having light, not having electricity. It was there. So I raised this issue in Parliament also. Then I went to officials of electricity department. They said we just don't have any plan for this. We just don't have. Lekin then, I could get electricity for that a small village type settlement, and it makes me, to this date even, it makes me very happy. तो ऐसी चीज़ें तो हैं, लेकिन वास्तव में संजय जी ने हमको भी सबको सोचने के लिए थोड़ा सा एक नया दृष्टि दी है, मैं उसके लिए उनका धन्यवाद भी करता हूँ। एक बात मैं और कहना चाहता हूँ, अभी हम जब चाय पी रहे थे शुरू होने से, फॉर्मल शेप में आने से पहले, तो माधवन साहब एक बात कह रहे थे, वो परसेप्शन की बात संजय जी ने भी कही है, परसेप्शन और रियलिटी में बड़ा फ़र्क है। तो माधवन साहब कह रहे थे कि मैंने ये देखा है कि राजनीतिक क्षेत्र के अंदर काम करने वाले लोग बड़े टाइम के पाबंद होते हैं। तो मुझको, मैं इस बात को कहना चाहता हूं कि जितना प्रेशर है, जितना डिमांडिंग ये काम है, उसमें आपके पास कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है। यू विल हैव टू मैनेज योर टाइम, अदरवाइज यू जस्ट कांट यूज दैट टाइम विद फुल कैपेसिटी। तो ये जो चीज है, तो बस थैंक यू।
I just open it up in a few minutes. I just open up the stage in a few minutes. But before that, just one more question which was raised by Ms. Jothimani earlier, which is a question about support, institutional support for the work you do. And in a way, again, MPs have a generalist role, but looking very specifically into detailed topics. So it could be something to do with defense, it could be something to do with education, it could be health, and you may not have that background. So how do you actually, I mean, is there a research, we know Parliament doesn't have a very strong research or a personalized research support, and we have actually, I mean, that is something that PRS has been advocating for a long time, that there should be support. And just to give some numbers, in the US, each senator is allocated somewhere between $3 and $4 million to hire staff. UK, they get about 150,000 pounds a year, which means they get 3 to 4 well-qualified people. Not, I mean, not just the secretary level, but a researcher type of person, 3 to 4 people they can actually hire. And we really don't have, I think you get what, 40,000 now, 45, something like that. 40,000 per month, which obviously you can't get a very highly qualified person. So what do you think we should do? I mean, why don't we actually build this system? Given that Parliament can do budgets, so why doesn't Parliament actually allocate and build a system?
See, it might not be raised very strongly, I think. Many people might have. See, for example, we have a JPC, Jaiswal ji is a chairman, biodiversity bill. So you obviously we have to read a lot. He was a very sincere chairman. We also have a very limited time frame to finish the things. So you have to keep on reading so that I can give more hard time to him. Despite that, I must acknowledge he's a most democratic person. He was willing to listen to all our views. Though in the end we tried to put up a dissent note which he doesn't agree because I was suspended that time, unfortunately. So you have to read a lot. So like you go crazy every month. I think 2-3 meetings and all we had. So you have to read every line. I literally read every line, and I called the expert. I had a discussion. We had a Zoom meeting. I met some of them. Even the flight, car, everything. I keep reading it. It's a really madness. That is not the JPC. It's not the only work me and Agrawal ji and other members, Jaiswal ji and me are having. We have a hell lot of work we have listed out already. In that case, actually MPs need a set of people, team of people with all kind of expertise. Then only we can function. Not only lawmakers. We have to do all of that. Even you do only lawmaking stuff, that need more support. Actually, few years back, Rahul ji has started on institutional support for the MPs. And he thought it can be not only Congress MPs, it can be any party MP. If they have a time, they can go and listen on any particular subject. We have started something like Legislatures School of Political Science, something like we have started, but it couldn't, but it should be a government setup. Second thing, as I said, actually, why we are all, our allowance and all, it's very difficult. Because you give a 40,000 rupees, you can hire one person. I technically do not have a PA in Delhi because I spend, and more than my cousin also spending to my office, to have more people there, because my office is always, everybody's office, MP's office is always flooded with people. So where you read, how you write, where you put questions, lot of issue still we are working very hard, but still we perform better. Constituency allowance is 80,000 rupees. My diesel bill 65,000 per month. So I am single, I don't have other family responsibility. Some of my friends and family members are, relatives are well-to-do, so they are supporting me. They used to tease me. We thought once you become an MP, our responsibility over, now you are coming with more and more responsibility. So in a way, some kind of institutional setup within the government has to be established.
ये बड़ा इशू है जिसकी तरफ मिस्टर माधवन ने संकेत किया है, और मैं कई बार सोचता हूँ कि पीआरएस न होते तो हम क्या करते। माने इतना बड़ी मदद मिली जब पहली बार कोई एक लैंप के रूप में आप में से कोई बच्चा आया, तो मुझे ध्यान आता है कि पहले उसमें कितना परिश्रम करना पड़ता था। परिश्रम तो बाद में भी करना पड़ा, उसकी दिशा थोड़ी बहुत बदल जाती है। तो मुझको तो ये लगता है, आई फील इट वेरी सीरियसली, कि ओके यू प्लीज डोंट रेज द सैलरी एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, प्लीज डोंट रेज, बिकॉज दैट बिकम्स ए टॉकिंग पॉइंट इन मीडिया, इन पीपल एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, और वो जो परसेप्शन है फिर गड़बड़ हो जाता है कि दे डिसाइड देमसेल्व्स अबाउट देयर सैलरी एटसेट्रा। बट आई थिंक देयर शुड बी सम वेरी गुड क्वालिटी सपोर्ट. In Karnataka, I think there is some office, they provide some office, they provide some staff, some qualified person also. So that should be given, because it is necessary just for one reason, कि इसके बाद से quality of MP's work वो बहुत improve हो जाएगा उससे, और जो law making जो काम है उसके अंदर क्वालिटी आएगी, उसके अंदर जो है व्यापकता आएगी। इसलिए इस प्रकार के व्यवस्था यदि बनती है तो आई थिंक इट शुड बी देयर, अदरवाइज जो एक्सपेंसेस हैं, अभी ज्योतिमणि कह रही थी, यानी मेरा जो बेटा है, ही टेक्स केयर ऑफ द फैमिली एक्सपेंसेस, देन ओनली आई एम एबल टू रन माय शो इन दैट सेंस. सो थैंक यू.
My breadwinner is my wife. Seriously, we need that thing. There's a support system in Parliament also. Like if we give any topic to the Parliament Library, there is a research wing there in the Parliament. And if we give any topic that I want to know things about this topic, they give us a lot of inputs, which we normally then we read it. PRS, of course, helps us a lot, PRS fellows, but it's a good idea. And fortunately, today I am having the meeting of the Lok Sabha Budget Committee, and I am the chairperson of that Budget Committee. So I will definitely recommend that Parliament should also think about providing a research, even for an internship basis, even it can be on an internship basis. I think it's really needed, because there are so many issues for which we have to give a lot of time. And if somebody can help us with our ideas and then give us input, that makes a lot of difference. And I believe that it should happen, and I will talk about it. That I promise.
Yeah, first session into this term, I pretty much realized it's not great to waver off and get to know and try to speak on every topic. So I kind of put myself and I focus on like 3 issues mainly. Others that comes from the constituency, I speak about it, but mostly if I have to speak on, I'd mostly speak on these 3 issues, where the education, animal husbandry, and third thing is with respect to these new technologies, that's crypto and these things. first thing, education, because my family and everyone is there, so I can understand. I have a lot of people that are there in my state and my district who are into this, so that they can give the feedback to me. And my husband, the same thing. I know a lot of people from the industry who I take the feedback from and keep talking about it. And third thing is, with respect to these new technologies, I put myself out there and ask them to come and meet me. I call them, my assistant calls them, like he wants to meet you. It's not the other way around. Them calling us, and I ask them. I read a news article somewhere. I kind of say, why can't we reach out to them? Why can't we understand what they're doing in these new technologies, emerging technologies, so that I understand on the. So you have to keep it very lean. As a first timer, yes, they have a second time, third timers. They can speak on a lot of topics because they understand very fast. But for myself, as a first timer, I have to keep myself very lean, very focused, speak on those 3-4 issues mostly, and rest of the constituency issues, yes, I can speak on them. Coming to the assistance, obviously we need, no one will say no to having more assistance, but how we can do it, whether from the government side, and mostly I think they should be, they give briefs, government gives briefs on various bills, but government giving a brief is a different thing, but PRS kind of organizations giving a brief is a completely different thing. I think they should focus more on how to incentivize or how to encourage institutions like PRS, Swaniti, or think tanks, so that they can interact more with the parliamentarians, educate parliamentarians more. That's where I think as Sanjay Jaiswal ji has just mentioned, having one more person to us is a easier thing, but difficult thing is building these institutions. So there you can see how we can budget that. So that's a suggestion I can make. Thank you.